Hello, Driving Intelligence community. One of the benefits of having a channel that's growing, I've got over 12,000 subscribers at the time of this video, is that I get products from various companies to try out. In this case, since my 10th gen F150 seems to be the popular vehicle and I get a lot of attention there, a company named DynoVox has sent me some long tube headers to try out on this truck. Now I told them right now I don't have time or the ability to put these headers on. If you all remember, and I'll link this below, I've got pace setter shorty headers on that truck right now that seem to be working out pretty good. Obviously, long tube headers take a lot more work to put them on, but there is some additional benefit in terms of power, performance, and fuel economy. But what they did ask me to do is do an open box to showcase their headers, and I want to do that in this video. So I got the package. It's not been opened yet. Let's take a look and see what we got in here. All right, these are stainless steel, and they do have the bungs in them. I've already seen on the images that show where the oxygen sensors would hook up. Of course, you're going to have some tuning to make that work. Primarily because of the long tube headers, they require a tune change, but also because there's no catalytic converters that come with these. You can always add those later. But see, they've got this nicely wrapped. You can already see they've got some nice thick flanges on the collector. And actually some nice thick flanges at the head. So we're going to take a deeper look at this. Actually, there's the EGR bung. I was wondering if they were going to have something like that. So that's on the passenger side of the vehicle. So it is set up so you can run your EGR. But I'm going to pull the rest of this out. We'll do a deeper dive as I pull them out and take a look at it. But so far, these are some good looking headers. Again, I'm not going to install these. We're not going to see how well they fit, but at least we'll see how they're constructed. Something I need to point out, DynoVox designed these headers to work for 1999 through 2004 F150 Heritage, and also the 1997 through 1999 F250. And that's the F250 light duty. Those seem to come with some, what they appear to be some relatively high quality gaskets. These are the collector gaskets here, and this is the head gasket. And it looks like they've got stainless hardware, so that's all, these are all nice elements of this. Or actually, that's the hardware for the collector. So we need to see if they've got bolts in here for the head. Now, the thing that kind of confused me when I first was communicating with them is whether or not it came with catalytic converters. They said it does not, and in fact, it does not. It's probably hard to see in here, but what it looks like are perforations for a resonator. So I think these are resonators. And again, I believe these will fit for O2 sensors. I need to test that. But that's an interesting design. It is straight through, so we don't have this change in diameter as it appears out here. There is some material in there, and I'll show a close-up of this that looks like it's for some kind of sound modification. And that's it. That's one side of the header, and I'm going to lay everything out and just take a good look at it on the ground, and then we'll just take some closer looks at it to see what the welding quality looks like and what we think it might how it might work on an F150. One of the things about their site, though, it does not indicate whether or not these are good for 4x4 or for two-wheel drive. I asked them that. They're not quite sure yet, so I got to see if I can make that work with both vehicles. These would be sweet to go on my 10th generation Harley Davidson F150 with a supercharged engine, but again, I'm not ready to put these on, so we'll move on from there. All right, so I've got them laid out, and as I indicated, they do look like they're emission system ready with the EGR bung here. And then I'm pretty confident these are for the oxygen sensors. So I need to, I'm going to pull an oxygen sensor out and see if it screws in that to make sure. But this is the layout, and it looks like this is expanded here for I don't know what this, I think this is 2 1/4 inch pipe. So we'll check that also. I'll look at each one of these components in detail after this summary. I've laid out the major components for a detailed review, and I just want to fully disclose that I've never installed a set of long tube headers. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I have installed pace header shorty headers on my 10th gen F150, and they were a bear to install, primarily because of the orientation of the tubes and how they relate to the holes where you bolt it to the head. Not a lot of access on shorties, but it seems like there's a lot of access here with the long tubes that makes it a lot easier, at least to get it attached to the head. But I have heard that there is a lot of difficulty because of the length of the headers. But what's interesting about these is that they come in two sections. Again, I think this is a resonator, and this perhaps could be a shorter header, which makes it easier to install and then connect this component here, which again, I think it's a resonator because it's got a straight through design with perforations in it. So let's move on to this piece first. I said I would check for this to be compatible with oxygen sensors, and unfortunately it is not, because that perforation in there, the straight through design that's in there, prevents me from installing this, but it looks like the threads are exact or correct. So you're going to have to use an extension with the oxygen sensors, which actually makes it a little difficult for the front one because you want full access to the oxygen sensor in the exhaust stream. Perhaps as the exhaust is coming up through the perforations, it's going to give some indication, but that's going to really slow down the signal to the ECU, indicating what your lean fuel mixture is coming out of the engine. As far as the quality of it, the flanges are extremely thick. Typically they're 3/8. It's 0.38 inches, which is bigger than 3/8. That's a really thick flange. So the flanges are nice, and both at the collector and at the head. The welds on the resonator look really nice. Nice clean welds. Moving over to the header itself, the collector welds look good on the flange, really nice. The thing that I'm noticing here is that the weld on this head plate, or the flange, are only on the top and the bottom. I'm going to turn it over so we can take a look at it at the head surface. All right, on the opposite side, the head side, there is a nice weld on all of these primaries, so that looks good. No worry about leakage there. The diameter of the primaries are 1.5 inches, so that looks good. And then the diameter coming off of the collector is already what I saw to be 2.5 inches. So you're going to have to upscale your exhaust if you're going with these long tubes. But again, if you're going with these, you're going for performance, so you're going to want to upgrade the exhaust coming off of these headers. You don't want to go to restriction, which I think is typically 2¼ inch on the stock F150. Last thing we'll look at is the sealing of the headers to the head. There's a couple factors here. It's the flatness of the flange and also the quality of the gaskets. These are graphite gaskets. I actually just put a set of these on my pace header shorty headers because I had a leak going into the stock exhaust. But these look like relatively quality gaskets. They look pretty good, nice and thick. But the other thing about the header flange is whether or not it's straight. So we're going to take a look at this with a straight edge to see if it's straight, especially after they welded it, which could cause some warpage. So using my straight edge, there is the ever slightest gap right in the center of the flange. And given headers are very prone to leakage, what I would do and what I will do when I install these headers is I will make sure that this is perfectly flat. I'll probably take it to the machine shop and have them grind it smooth. You don't want to take any chances with the headers, especially, like I said, since they're prone to leakage. So in my estimation, these look like they're pretty good quality headers. The only problem is with the resonator, where you put your oxygen sensors on, you're gonna have a problem with that. One of the things you could do is just drill straight through the material in there so that your oxygen sensor can reach through. That is something that you have to figure out if you install these. But otherwise, I think they, without testing the actual fitment, I think they're a quality set of headers. So I'd be interested in what anybody thinks about that. That is my assessment of these headers. And I'm going to link the company in the description of this video so you can check out all their products. They have other products for the 10th gen F150, a lot of other F150s, and even for my 1985 Mustang SVO, they have a header that I could install on that That might be something that we look at in the future. But anyway, that's it for now. I hope this opened your eyes to some new opportunities for some 10th Gen F-150 performance. Give me that thumbs up, and I'll see you next time on Driving Intelligence.